Everybody, welcome back to the second half of the Rad Life. I am here with my guest, Ken Clouatre, that is a financial planner, a friend of mine, and among other things, he's also an author. And we're talking about the process of planning your life, but also how he planned and basically wrote this book. And if you are just joining us now, before the break, we were talking about, being careful that when A, being intentional, B, just going ahead and doing something and not just talking about that you're going to do it. And there's a lot of people, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but, there's a lot of people that are basically going to talk to you all day long, and we all have them in our life for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. They've been telling you they're going to be doing something at one point, but just the alignment of the planets, the navigational stars are not in the right sequence, whatever it is, for some reason or the other, there's an argumentation for limitations, not doing it, we'll do it later. Perfect example for all those people that basically work, and then basically when I retire, I'll get to do all that stuff.
Yep, exactly.
Right? I mean, that's as common as anything, right? That used to be the old model. Instead of actually living your life, I have beautiful china, and we bought it, and we're going to use it for special occasions, and then you end up basically never using it, and right. So the point is, be intentional, take action, and basically have a clarity. And in the case of Ken, he was sharing that from day one, when he went to school, he went down a financial path. Then he went and did a master's degree down the same line, and then he went and worked, and very quickly decided he was going to go and be an independent wealth manager. And then, due to personal self-growth, he found himself in a situation where he was reevaluating what he wanted to do, and I wouldn't say charting a new course necessarily, but adjusting your course to what you wanted to do, right?
Yeah, more like fine-tuning.
Fine-tuning. Yeah, fine-tuning is a good one, because again, I think a lot of people also assume that once you have set a course, that's it. You're committed.
Yeah.
And that there's no room in life to fine-tune, which is actually not the truth. The truth is you're always constantly fine-tuning.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, I feel like so many people, when you ask them about like their vision for life, get so stuck in the particulars of like, this is how it has to be. And it becomes this very overwhelming thought process. Whereas if you just took the time to start like a general idea of what that looks like, as you get closer, you'll fine-tune it and make it, more clear. You don't have to have it all figured out to start.
Well, and I think let's take a minute here, because I know from my own personal self-growth experiences is that when you have a situation like that, your sense of needing to come up with what it is that your ultimate goal is sometimes is paralyzing.
Yeah.
Like you feeling like I am going to verbalize something right now that I now have to be committed to as the only way that this is going to manifest itself.
Yep.
When the truth is, no, you're just charting a course in a certain direction, and then there's a journey along the way that has all kinds of rewards and lessons along the way, and you're constantly adjusting and calibrating, and we might as well get to it. I mean, you use the idea of sailing, and I'm going to let you share in a minute why that is important to you. But you use the idea of sailing as the basic sort of underlying current, if you will, excuse the pun, in your book.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. And in sailing, you're constantly calibrating and adjusting. You're constantly reading the wind. You're constantly, dealing with conditions as they change, right?
Exactly.
Right. So that's why I said the book is actually phenomenal, because from your own personal journey and experience, it manifests itself in a physical environment that literally carries the message very well.
Right. It all just ties together very nicely.
Really nicely. So tell me, since I brought it up, what was it that made you go down the path of sailing as a metaphor and a genuine basis for the book?
Yeah, so I've always had a passion for the water.
Yeah.
And I spend all my time basically near or on the water.
Yeah.
And I've owned a powerboat since I was 17.
Okay.
So, but I live in Newport Beach.
Yeah, but doesn't every 17-year-old own a powerboat?
That's like normal things that we do in Orange County.
Right.
But, I was literally one day walking by the harbor, and I was like, that is a really nice boat. Like, I think I should learn how to sail. Mm-hmm. And obviously I didn't know the process or anything about it, but kind of to the point of the book, right? Once you kind of set the intention of like, I want to learn how to do that, you just kind of figure out how to start, So I went and signed up for the first class I could find, started doing that, and then moved through that process of taking 3 or 4 classes there. And then, once I'd gone through that curriculum, found another school that was fine tuning closer to what I was trying to sail, and went down that path. And then at the same time I was learning to sail, is kind of the time I was setting the intention of writing the book. So as I was writing, they were kind of mirroring each other.
Well,
And-
they were coming together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
interesting.
It was a nice, easy, read and storytelling, because I was literally learning
right.
and then writing something that I was trying to teach at the same time.
Right. So you were getting, if you will, material and input for what it was that you were basically then putting down on paper.
Exactly.
Right. Very interesting. And what was your goal? Because you wanted to sail, so you took classes to sail, but there was a goal. There was a physical goal, like visual,
Yeah.
in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Like what people call a vision board, almost, right? Like there was something, right?
Yep.
What was that?
So, as I mentioned, I kind of was walking through the harbor one day, and knowing anything about sailing, when I started, it was just more of like a personal growth thing of I want to learn how to sail.
Right.
And then I remember specifically I was walking through this harbor where all the boats are part of the sailing club that I now belong to. And I was like, that boat, I want to sail. And so that became my vision, if you will. And so when I started at that new facility, I was like, I'm going to sail that boat. How do I do that?
How do I get to that?
Yeah.
So there was a physical visual in front of you.
Correct.
And actually a tangible. You could go up there and touch it.
Yep.
Right? That symbolized in real life what your goal was.
Correct.
And you took steps to basically get there.
Yep.
I might as well ask, what harbor or where was it?
It's all in Newport Harbor.
Oh, it's Newport Harbor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I sail that boat now. I mean, that goal went from that to a much bigger one. Now I just get to share basically my passion for the water and sailing with friends and family. And, everybody really enjoys going out on the water. And it's something now that is much bigger than the tangible boat.
Right.
It's become part of like who I am.
Right.
And as people get to know me, right, it really flows in with the authenticity and the stillness
Yeah.
that I have in life being on a sailboat, right? You have to slow down.
Well, yes, and you cannot be distracted. I mean, a similar one for me when I was first starting in design, and I happened to be living in West LA. It was rock climbing.
Okay.
There's certain things, like this show is actually one of them in a way, because you can be on a cell phone.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't on a cell phone calling in, but you can be on a cell phone. You have to be engaged with the person in front of you. And if you think that's a small task, everybody who's listening, but take a minute and just reflect on your life today. We're at almost 1:00. How much of your day so far today has been one where you basically did not get distracted by a million emails, social media postings on your phone, all this other stuff, and actually had to physically engage in the now with what was going on?
Exactly.
It's harder and harder to do.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember taking a course with Ken Clouatre, who's written a couple books on flow states.
Yeah.
And he talks about rock climbing or these other sports that really you can't think about the future or the past. You have to be in the moment because that's how you have to.
Yeah, if you're distracted and you happen to be on the belaying side of the end of the rope and somebody falls, you're the only point of safety for them.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you're basically checking you're posting on Instagram at the moment that basically somebody falls in the rope, let me tell you, you feel really really bad about it. So I fortunately didn't do it when there was social media on my phone. It was early on, but no, it's really, I think it's important to mention, because we just walk around like this is the normal.
Yeah.
Like this is it. There's no other alternative. When in fact there is alternatives. You just got to discipline yourself to basically do that. I read an article yesterday regarding that, and I'll share it on the Raad Live Facebook page later. But the article basically talked about something that I had actually done a couple of weeks ago, because there was a moment about a month ago where I consciously said to myself, I got to do this. What we're talking about. You got to take an action towards clearing the distractions out of your life, right? Because otherwise, it's one more distraction, and tomorrow there's another one, and then there's one from today is still around, and then it just piles up, right? So I think it was like spring cleaning. It was like, okay, spring cleaning time, right? So I literally took off all the apps for social media off my phone,
Wow.
right? The only one, and this is a shout out to Instagram, to do something about this, right, is give people the opportunity to post on Instagram from their laptops or from their PCs. Okay, the only reason Instagram's on my phone is because there's no way for me to post on social media, and I happen to do social media postings for a couple of agencies and organizations. But I also then said, I'm not going to do any checking on social media other than early in the morning, after I have had my routine and my time to myself,
Okay.
or after a certain point in the afternoon. And that was it. And it was like, and I will tell you, it is a simple thing. If you can get there, oh my God, the difference. You don't realize how inundated we are with distractions these days.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And we're all walking around like, well, we have no other choice.
Yeah.
Right? And you would think that with as much contact that we have, that we would have a depth of connection. And it's the exact opposite.
Right.
It's all superficial. It's 8x10 glossy, right? It's canned, curated, right? There's no genuine connection. You really actually have to go out of your way to have a genuine connection with people.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we all have to communicate. We all have to be open to emails. And, if you're in business, it's unavoidable. If you work for yourself, there's a certain amount of that you have to do. But you also get to choose how you go about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where your book comes really in. I think, Ken, anybody who needs to get this, it's called Get There. It's by Ken Clouatre, and it's available online, right?
Yeah, it's on Amazon and available through my website.
Right. And I urge you to really look at it. It's what is it, like 120 pages?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and then there's a couple of like quotes from the book. He even organized it, right? You're interested in just quotes? There's a section on just quotes, right? There's a section on him that's like actually very nice. It's only 2.5 pages, like 2 pages total, really concise guy.
Right. I'm just very to the point.
Very to the point guy.
I call it efficiency.
Efficiency. Let's talk about this book, okay? Just the structure of what you put in here, right? And let's talk about what are some of the things that you point out in here that I think are critical that people fall into, like traps that people fall into, things that they don't do.
Well, kind of to your point about distractions, one of the things that I've recently done is, I think we talked about it, I did a week in silence. Mm-hmm. So talk about really
I called you like a monk or something.
Yeah. So, really spending that time to detach from all the distractions and have that time with yourself really gets you some clarity on what you're trying to achieve and who you are as a person. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to go spend a week out in silence.
Well, no, and let's just preface this too, right? Because people are going to go do that and they basically hurt themselves sort of internally, something, right? That Ken has been kind of building all of this stuff. It's a part of his regimen to basically have time to himself.
Correct.
So to take a week of silence when you are not used to anything but noise around you, you could be screaming inside your head. So just be cautious.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell anybody to go do that. But for me, it was a perfect thing to do. And what I do tell people is to spend at least a couple minutes really in silence, if you will, and just with yourself and in your thoughts, because that helps you really understand who you are and what you're trying to achieve without the distractions. And that's really what the book is about is, okay, what is my vision of the future and what does that look like? And that isn't something that I can't tell you what your vision is.
Right.
No different than you could tell me what mine is.
Right.
So
the hardest sometimes is us telling ourselves what it is.
Correct. And that was something
why
I didn't think about until feedback from the book. A lot of people have told me that they're having a problem with that. Mm-hmm. And I think it comes down to really just not taking the time to sit with themselves and go through that process.
Yeah, because there's no shortcut to that. You have to do that to do there.
Exactly.
Right.
So
and it's like a muscle. Do you think that kind of behavior is also kind of like a muscle? Like you actually need to start doing it in order to get better at doing it?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like anything, right? You got to practice.
So you have some advice for people about how to find their why, their why, and what is that vision for them, right?
Correct.
Let's share that with people.
Well, I mean, again, it really just comes down to creating a vision statement for yourself. And, one of the quotes is about a North Star. Mm-hmm. And it really makes sense if you think about it. Every decision you make going through the day is a reflection of what you are doing today and who you want to be in the future. Mm-hmm. So if you have that vision statement and you're like, okay, does this relate to and define me who I want to be, or is it turning me in a direction I don't want to go? It helps you decide on where you're going to make changes.
And like we said before, you may have to go down that course, that chart that course, and then by going down it, realize you need to correct.
Exactly, right? But it's all about getting in motion.
Right.
We can sit here and talk about doing something forever,
right,
but you have to get yourself moving, and the momentum will build, and you'll continually go forward and refine and course correct on what you want to achieve. But you need to have a general idea of where you want to go,
right,
and where you are today. That the how and the process is going to be different for each person. But with those two things, we can get you where you're trying to go.
So from your own personal experience and from your own what you've encountered with people that have read the book and shared with you, What are some of the common things that you'd like to share with the listeners?
You know, what I always find interesting, and I wrote it kind of for this purpose to really have an impact on people, and it's done that. I've had people tell me that they've changed careers because of the book, allowed themselves to step out of their comfort zone and really question, what they need to do. Mm-hmm. I had somebody that was helping me work on the book that actually spent a month in Europe doing a writing class afterwards because the opportunity came, and he was like working with me on the book, and he's like, you know what, that's really what I want to do. Mm-hmm. I'm going to spend the money and do it. Mm-hmm. And he went out and did that. So, the book, people hear a finance book and they get all like crazy, like, oh my God, it's going to be numbers and this, and that's really not the book.
It's not the book.
Right? I call it an inspirational finance book. It's really trying to inspire you to figure out what you want.
Right.
And spend the small amount of time to start putting the things in place. Right. To get to where you want to go.
You know what I found about it, Ken, honestly, there are a couple of things that were really interesting. The timing of this, when you gave it to me, and I'm a firm believer in happy accidents. Okay, I really am. Okay, and I feel blessed that at some point in my life I actually allowed myself to receive, right, mm-hmm. and just not be so closed off that I had to control everything. Yep. Right. Some people would say that I basically am a little too lax in that, but when you gave me this book, I was going through a little bit of that sort of reevaluation, and it was interesting because there's an old saying that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Mm-hmm. Okay. In a way, this was that at that moment. The other thing that I find interesting about this is that a lot of people don't really understand that there is no the idea of you can't go back mm-hmm. is not there. You're always able to do that. And when you surrender, doesn't mean that you're giving up power. In fact, you're probably most powerful is when you're allowing for things that you cannot control to be, while you then focus on these things. No distractions, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And Paul is giving me the signal that we're almost out of time. But the thing about this is that your book has very little, to be honest, that has to do with finances. Like it starts. It's like without this getting to the point what this book is telling you to get, none of the other stuff makes any difference.
Right.
Right. And if you get to this, what this is for me was your self-awareness getting to a certain point, and standing in that light, if you will. And there's no religious connotations there, but standing in that light, you then shared that to somebody. And in this case, to a lot of people, because it's a book, right? And for those who know what I'm talking about, once you have that light, if you will, turned on, there will be times where you wish it wasn't, but once you have that light turned on, it's almost impossible to turn it off. And it becomes your North Star, your own personal North Star, right, in everything that you do. You may get distracted from it. You may find yourself in a harbor spending too much time, off on shore leave or whatever. But there will always be a time when you will come back to it. And there will be times when you go, God damn it, ignorance would be bliss right now. Why? If I didn't know what I know and if I didn't have that awareness. Do you feel that way?
100%. I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very personal share. It is a very concise, and knowing you and what you shared today earlier, yes, it was a very intentional size and share, right?
Well, I didn't want it to be overwhelming. If you give somebody a 300-page book, you're not going to read it.
Well, as a former MBA student, I appreciate the fact that this had the word finance on it, and it didn't come in like 3 inches of thickness, right? And hardcover. But it really is a great book. I recommend it to everybody. Go get this thing. It's called Get There. Chart your course to financial abundance and live the life you desire. It's actually live the life you desire. And in financial abundance, we live in a world where you need it. That's going to be the grease that, the oil that greases the wheels, if you will, right? And it's by my guest and friend, Ken Clouatre. And Ken, let's give them the website again. It's on Amazon, so they can find it on Amazon.
It is on Amazon, and it's on Prime, so you'll get it in 2 days.
Oh, and it's on Prime, so you can get it really fast. So you can be like all in a higher level of self-awareness by I don't know, Monday.
Yeah, right.
Because you can read this.
Because I can't wait.
You can't wait. Yeah, because you can't wait. You're distracted by everything else.
I don't have the time. I got too many distractions. I need to get there now.
And you know what? If you don't order it on Prime, if you order it the old-fashioned way of 3 days to get to you, then please let us know, because I really want to champion your efforts to be still. The other thing I want to share also is Ken also has a website that's his name, right? You have a kenclouatre.com.
Correct.
And I'm going to spell that. It's KenClouris. He's the only man that, other than with my name, that has an OU after his name, right?
Right. Confuses everybody.
It confuses everybody. Yeah, it's a silent. Okay, and then you also are a partner and president of your wealth management company, and that is what's the website for that?
It's platinumwealthgroup.com.
Platinumwealthgroup.com. Very concise, very intentional. The man is very intentional.
Right. Make it as easy as possible for everybody.
I really appreciate you being here and sharing your story.
Thank you.
Everybody, please go get this book. It's a really good read. I love books like this that have a lot of content. Don't judge a book by its cover or its thickness. There's a lot of stuff in here, and I appreciate, my friend, for you being here.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'm sure you'll be back.
I hope so.
Well, I know.
Hopefully you'll be here the whole time.
Well, I'll be here the whole time. I'll get there sooner.
There you go.
Thanks, everybody.
You have been listening to the Rad Life Radio Show with your host and age explorer, Rod Gantos, brought to you on the one and only octalkradio.net. Join us again next week as we continue our journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older.